Okay, Richard, here we are. 5 days to look forward to. It's upon us. Royal Ascot. Very much looking forward to it. It's a meeting that you've got a good record at, actually. I think your first ever runner at Ascot was a winner, wasn't it? Was that
You know it was, yeah. It's Tormore and the Queen Anne. And hopefully it might be the same this year. It'll be one of those weeks where you go big or go home. First race on the first day, Rosalien.
And what are we thinking? How confident are you, and how
I'm
much
not so
forward
much
is he from
confident.
the
I'm
lock-ins?
confident he'll go there and run his race. He's obviously got to reverse the form with the first two in the lock-ins, which won't be easy. But hopefully he's race fit now. You know, he appears so, and Timmy Murphy says he feels much sharper. So we're very hopeful just to get a bit of fast ground, and it's going to be a great race.
How crucial is the ground going to be for him, especially in a race?
Well, I think as long as it's good or better, I think he'll be fine. You know, he's won. I think it was good ground when he won the listed race. There, he was very impressive in the Pad Eddery, the Wingfield Stakes. Arguably his most impressive performance that was. So it's a straight mile. They'll go quick. There's an awful lot there that are pluses for him. You know, and he's unbeaten at the track as well.
Let's just talk a little bit about the lock-ins then. I know in your Unibet blog you said, you know, there's nothing else you can do with him at home or away because he was as straight as you could get him. But did it just surprise you a little bit as to how much he did need that first run?
Yeah. I was staggered how much he blew in after that lock-in, and he had done loads. You've taken him away 3 times. It just shows you, especially as they get older, they need that first run, and he definitely needed that. He needed it last year. You know, finished second in the 2,000 Guineas, went on and won the Irish 2,000 Guineas, and then the St James Palace Stakes. So, you know, traditionally, he needs it.
What was the feedback from Sean after
Oh,
the
he got
race?
off him and he said, yeah, win the Queen Anne. So I went to Charlie Appleby. I said, well, I won the race that was between me and you, Charlie, which I was delighted about. He said, yeah, but William said he'd win the Queen Anne. I said, well, here we go again then. It'll be fun. And it will be. It'll be a great race, and I'm looking forward to it tremendously. I think there's a lot of people will be turning up there early on the first day to make sure they get in and get their spot sorted to watch what will be a fascinating race.
If we just look further down the line, are you looking at perhaps stepping him up to a mile and a quarter later this season? No. So you do think he's an out-and-out
Yeah,
miler?
he's doing nothing wrong over a mile, in case you haven't noticed, Brett.
No.
Or Unibet vloggers.
If it ain't broken, why fix it?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I quite agree. Let's just make sure we can win over a mile.
And as you said,
I'd rather come back the other way, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I would. I'd rather come back to 6 than I would a mile and a quarter.
You just got that much pace.
Yeah.
How important is it to get that monkey off your back early, so to speak? First race, I suppose it makes you can relax a little bit more.
I remember when Tornado won it, the Queen Anne, my first year. And the rest of them ran really moderately all week. Everybody kept coming up, walking back out to the car park after racing on every day afterwards, saying, oh, well done, Richard, what a great Royal Ascot you're having. Really? Didn't seem like that to me. But I mean, you know, you get a winner on the board early. Yeah, it makes a huge difference to your swagger, I suppose.
We're sticking with the 4-year-olds. Hatem, what's the plan going forward?
Yeah, well,
for
a lot
him?
of people might think, oh, it's been a bit disappointing so far. But the race didn't really suit him in France. And the winner had the run of the race, and we tried to quicken past horses that were already quickening, and that's hard. James, rightly so, as much as it pains me to say this, but there's no point going to the Queen Anne because he's not running well enough at the moment. And I admire someone that tells it like that. You know, what we need is the truth. It helps everybody. And let's step him up to a mile and a quarter in the Wolverton, the listed race, and see how we get on. He's a gentleman. He'll settle, no problem. And it looks like he doesn't have the zip for a mile nowadays. So let's go a mile and a quarter. And if he gets a trip, he'll be a very hard horse to beat.
And that's a good, as you just sort of hit the nail on the head, that's a good thing about him. He's a very relaxed horse, so you can try different things.
He's very economical, yeah.
Yeah.
And if he has a chance of getting a mile and a quarter, he will give it to himself, if you know what I mean, by the way he behaves in races.
Okay, let's concentrate on the 2-year-olds because obviously this is a division that you do tend to do well at throughout the season, and especially at the Royal Meeting. Ballistic Missile, impressive winner on debut at York. Is the commentary for him?
Yeah, Ballistic Missile. He won over 5 at York and showed he had enough speed, but I think he will get 6. but he's also proved that he's fast enough for 5, so both races are an option. And the same with First Legion. He won over 6 and we brought him back to 5, but he could go back up to 6 or he could stay at an Ascot 5. So he could go in either one. I'm not sure which way round we're going to go yet. We'll speak to Paul and the guys at Yulong and go from there. Rakeb's another one that will run in the Coventry.
That was a good run in the Woodcut.
Very good run, really pleased with that. Sean thought he would have gone very close if he was drawn better. Yeah, he didn't handle the track fantastically either, but one thing I worried about was him behaving himself mentally, and he did that very well, surprised me at Epsom, and very happy to see him run a very, very good race.
With the two-year races, I know like Persian Force a few years ago, Memas and even Threat going further down the line. You sort of knew you were targeting those horses at the Coventry.
They were all second in the Coventry. Can you believe that?
I know. Yeah. You knew you were going to go for the Coventry with those horses.
Yeah.
The fact you're saying you're not quite sure where you're going to go.
Well, I think you can duck and dive this year because both of them, as did the other horses actually, both those horses have the speed for 5. So it's nice to have the options, and it makes a difference to where you go after Ascot. Do you go Robert Papin, do you go July Stakes, or, there's a few different races, but I like the way they are, malleable into 5 or 6 furlongs. Of course, the Coventry is always a very good race, and the odds-on favourite now doesn't go, so it's looking slightly more attractive.
And with regards to Ballistic Missile, I know you can tell from a lot of your form, you tend to let them have their first run, but the fact they both managed to win first time out.
At York, would take some doing,
yeah. I mean, how was it a surprise that they were able to do it first time, or were you quite confident?
It wasn't a surprise. I thought they were nice horses, but it's surprising when you win like that first time. And I've been very happy if they'd have gone there and finished 3rd or 4th. And if you're going to win first time out as a 2-year-old, you basically have to be group class to maintain any sort of a ongoing season. And both of these are. And
you'd expect Ballistic Missile to improve again.
Yeah.
That first run.
Yeah, he was very big.
Yeah.
I really thought he would blow up, but in fairness, he was running right through the line, which is a sign of a good one. Both of them are very like their daddy, Baymas, he was like that, very relaxed and kind of held on to his weight, and he had a good constitution.
What were your thoughts on First Legion in the National at Sandown?
I was disappointed he didn't win. He always looked to me like he was going to win. Don't want to take any away from the winner. She's a very good filly, but was there a faster strip up the rail? I don't know. But it seems a little of an anomaly that they were 50 to 1 and 25 to 1 up the rail, and they were 1st and 3rd. I thought our fella, he slightly jumped that path on the sprint track at Sandown. Am I making excuses? I hope not, and I hope that he will show me that at Royal Ascot.
Okay, let's look at the fillies then, the 2-year-old fillies. The first of those is, of course, Harry's Girl, who amazingly got beaten at York last time.
I thought she'd gone there and she'd won the race, and I thought, oh, lovely. I got pulled a share in her, and I was cool.
She lost nothing in defeat, though, did she? Really?
No, she didn't. She's a little bit of Harry's angel in her, though. In the gate, she's not that straightforward. So you've got to watch that. And the Queen Mary, there's going to be a lot of runners. I just hope we get a nice draw so that we don't have to go in too early, because she could be dangerous in there. She's very fractious. Tom Marquand referred to that as well. But I like her. She's very quick. If they've got a bit of give in the ground, her chance goes up. I can't believe she's something like 20 to 1, and she'll take a lot of beating, especially if they go flat out, which they always do in the Queen Mary.
And she's obviously quite a precocious filly, because she won first time out
early
in the season as well.
She's a good filly, and I'm hoping she'll win the Super Sprint as well. But I don't mind taking the Queen Mary on the way through. Brett, it's easy game.
Yeah. What about Indigo Dawn?
Got the lovely filly. Did you see the way Pat Dobbs rode? It was just a lovely ride, and didn't give her a smack, just let her travel in his hands. She's a very classy filly. We knew that. We thought that at the Breeze Up Sales, and then got her home, and she was really lovely and relaxed, a lovely moving filly. Ascot, does it come too quick? I hope not, but it could do. She's a very smart filly.
Tahalel, we saw her just once at Haylock. Where are you looking?
She's a good filly. So I was slightly disappointed she got beaten, I've got to say. Sean seems to think she's a long striding filly. She might want 7, which is fine. All depends on what Sheikh Joanne wants to do, and we'll speak to him towards the end of the week and decide whether we go or not. I think I'd probably rather go. She always was quick enough for 5 to me, but I think we'd have to go 6. So it would be the Albany, I think. if we go.
Okay.
If not, we'll go to Newbury this week and then go to the Empress at the end of the week after Royal Ascot.
What's the best two-year-old you're going to take to the Royal Meeting?
I think it's probably Ballistic Missile or First Legion. But you've got to think you're a certainty at Royal Ascot, and then you might be fourth. It's going there with nice horses. Those days are kind of over. They've got to be very good. Everyone says, "Oh, it's not strong Coventry." They say that every year. I'm not saying they've said it this year. It's like the Derby. It's always won by a champion, both of those races. Even though you going in there, you don't know a lot about them, but you look back over the years, and every single one that's won the Coventry has been a household name of a stallion or something. So hopefully we've got another one. I don't know, but you never know.